Well, today is Sunday and it's raining, so there's no flying. I really wanted to get the flight in the pits, but that's not going to work out today. Maybe it'll clear up tomorrow and I'll be able to fly. So without any flying today, I'm in the hangar just getting a whole bunch of odd little things done. Well, let's start off with a look at my engine. It is still sitting on the crate. I mentioned in the previous video that I do have to put a remote oil filter on here because this oil filter will hit the landing gear. And I originally bought the wrong one, but the one I bought originally required that this whole assembly here be removed. And then there was a machined piece that connected to the case. And when I realized that was the wrong one, I bought the correct one. And when I bought the correct one, it mounts a little bit differently where all I need to do is take off the filter and this piece stays. Unfortunately, I already removed this. So to put it back on, I wanted to put a new gasket in here. So I did order a new gasket. It does have a new gasket in there now. But this piece is held on by 3 bolts. There's 1, 2, and there's another one down here. But down in here, there's a nut. And there's no way to get to that nut or to get a wrench on that nut enough to actually tighten it. I was able to break it loose and remove it, but I just can't get a wrench on there to get a proper torque or to actually even tighten it, I think, without removing this mag. So I did talk to an A&P and he said he has a wrench that's bent kind of weird that might be able to get in there. But if not, I'm going to have to remove this mag just to tighten this nut. And then I can tighten this back on here and then remove the filter and actually continue with the remote oil filter. So I'm kind of hoping I don't have to remove that magneto, but that right now is what's holding this up. So without this being ready, there's not much else I can do with the engine. Well, since it's cold and rainy out, I'm getting some other little things done in the hangar, and I'll take you through some of that stuff now. Starting off here, we have the right wing. I finished installing this skin here. And one of the things I've done, I did the same thing on my cruiser, is I added an L angle here to stiffen this up. Now this does have a curve, so I had to flute that L angle a little bit to give the angle the same curve that the skin has. But if I press down on here, it's all pretty stiff now, but without this stiffener in here, you had this big open section here like that with no support. And it was really kind of flimsy there. So just having this one support in there really does stiffen it up. On the front here, again, sort of just like my cruiser, I did have to cut out some notches because the way this skin goes on that curve, it was kind of bunching up here. And so these are little reliefs here. You know, because I did that, I'm going to make the same fairing on here that I made on my cruiser. And one of the other reasons why I wanted to make this fairing is it's going to come all the way up to here and around here like this and down. And when I put that fairing in place, I'm going to put a little bit of sealant under it. Because right now, this is pretty open. If this was sitting out in the rain, like right here actually, there's nothing behind here, so water would just go in there. So if I have a fairing that comes down here like this and covers this whole joint, and it's sealed up with some sealant under it, when it rains, you won't get water in the wing. So anyway, I'm going to tape this off and make another fairing for that corner there. With that wing skin done, I was looking around to see what else I could finish up, and for some reason I decided to mount the pitot heat controller onto the access panel. This is the access panel that goes on the wing right next to the pitot tube. So I'm just using the module here to drill the holes in the access cutter. Next, I'm doing something here that may or may not help. I'm mounting that electronic module box on some rubber grommets. And my thinking is that it may help prevent some of the airframe vibration from fatiguing any of the components in this box. It may or may not help, but it's certainly not going to hurt, so I figured I might as well do it. Here's what it looks like when it's done. I've used black screws on here just to blend in a little bit more. It looks good and it's ready to install. Now obviously I won't screw it to the wing because the wing isn't painted yet and I don't want this on there when I paint the wing, but this is what it would look like if it was installed. Now the next thing I'm going to work on is mounting the pitot or the static ports into the side of the fuselage. This whole kit here is the Dynon kit, the pitot static plumbing and installation kit. There's a lot more hose to this, but a lot of it's already installed in the airplane. So I have the static ports, some fittings, and then this nice little tubing cutter that works really well. And then the white plastic line will go from the two static ports into the AHRS units that are in the airplane. Now a common question that gets asked is, where is the best location to mount those static ports? And the answer is, I have no idea. But I will say that some people have mounted them right about in that area there, and they always say that they have good success. Scott Miller is one of them. That's where his are mounted, and he says his works fine, so that's where I'm going to mount mine. And if it doesn't work, then it's Scott Miller's fault. Well, the first step in this process is to figure out what the heck I'm doing. So, like a sissy, I will look at the installation manual because Dynon does provide some very good information in here. And I will read through this, see how this gets plumbed up. Here's a diagram here, and we'll get that installed in the airplane. Well, I guess eventually you have to commit to a location and just get the thing mounted. There it is, right there. It is not installed. It's actually just taped in place from behind. But that's it. That's where I'm locating it. As per the Dynon instructions, I have everything laid out according to how the plumbing goes for these. So here is each of the static ports. These elbows get screwed into the back here, and then this will have a hose from here to here, or a tube I should say, and then from here to here. This one gets connected to here, and then it splits into two. I have two AHRS units, so this one goes to this one, that one goes to number 2. Just like it's shown here, it splits down, one goes over to here, and then one goes over to the other one. So the next thing to do is to screw this into there, and then this will get glued to the inside of the fuselage skin with some Pro Seal. Well, naturally, I do not have any Pro Seal here, so I have to order some. I do know that Vans Aircraft sells very little bottles of Pro Seal, which is probably the cheapest way to get it. So I'll log onto their website, order some Pro Seal. When that gets here, I will glue those in place and then run the plastic lines. If we look at the back of the airplane, this dorsal fin is ready to rivet on, but I'm not going to rivet it yet, as much as I'd like to, just because there is a big access hole under here, right on the top of the fuselage, and I shouldn't need to get in there at all anymore. I already have the rudder cables run out the bottom there. The elevator cables are both attached, if I can show you that. There's the top one up there, and then the bottom one is down in there. So those are done. So I shouldn't need to get back there anymore, but there's no advantage to riveting it now other than it makes me feel good, like I got something done. So I don't think I'm going to rivet that on yet. I'll just wait a little bit just in case I need to get in there. I'll probably wait until the rudder is painted and everything in the back is hooked up and done. Then I know that I won't need to get in there anymore and I can kind of rivet it all together. I did put my back window in here. You can see that it is in there, but it's not riveted. Again, just in case I need to reach in there for something, but at least having it clecoed in place there makes it look like it's a little more done than it is. On the inside, one of the things I really would like to finish up is wiring the radio. It's the last of the wiring I have to do, other than a little bit for the engine, but I need to wire up the jacks, which are these wires right here. But with the radio is probably the most complicated thing to wire. So I've been kind of getting back in the electrical diagrams and kind of studying the radio again. All these wires are from the radio intercom also, but some of these don't get used. So I really got to kind of get back into it and figure out what I'm doing there, but I would like to finish this up. Because once these are done, all the wiring will be complete that goes towards the back of the plane. So all the wire bundles that are back there, I can really get those secured in place with those Adele clamps and kind of get everything finished up from there all the way up to here. Speaking of things to do, I just did the condition inspection on my cruiser and I lubed all of the hinges, and now we went out and flew yesterday morning. You could see all the streaks from the oil. I used LPS2 to lubricate this hinge, so I probably need to get some cleaner and clean all of that off now. Well, the last thing I did today was I finished my template for my tow bar that I'm putting on here. I'm using a Piper style tow bar, and if you're not familiar, the Piper tow bar has kind of two hooks like this that go in. And so I figured this will bolt on the bottom here like this. Ignore those holes, those are the wrong ones, those are the correct ones. And then I'll drill 2 holes. Once I get the tow bar, it's still on back order, but I can figure out where those holes go. It'll plug into here, and I'll be able to hook the tow bar up to the nose gear. I have a buddy of mine that's a machinist. He's gonna make this out of, I don't know, 1/8" steel, or maybe even thicker. If you look at most of the tow bars on the Pipers, they're made out of 1/8" steel, and they're all twisted and bent. So maybe even like 3/16 just to make it really stiff. But anyway, I'll send this to him and he can use this as a template. The only thing I did screw up on was I probably should have left these as just pilot holes for him. So I don't know if these are final size holes. Hopefully he can work with that and make me a nice plate. Hey guys, I want to thank you for watching this video and all of my videos. I appreciate it every time you hit that thumbs up button or you click that subscribe button. Before I go, I do want to remind you to visit kitplaneenthusiast.com. On that website, you will find very good quality steel braided brake lines and fuel lines and oil lines, everything you need for your Super Duty, your cruiser, your STOL, and coming soon, the 701. All of those lines are made by Aircraft Specialty, and all of those lines I have on my Super Duty because for this airplane, I wanted the best quality lines that I could get. We also have complete fairing packages available for the Super Duty, the STOL, the cruiser, and again, coming soon, the 701. We even have these little domed plastic covers that you will need if you mounted your fuel sender on the top of your tank instead of the side of the tank. So visit kitplaneenthusiast.com. Again, I do appreciate it. The little bit of money that I make from that website does go to support this channel, and it helps me to continue to bring you these videos. So with that said, we'll see you on the next video. Bye.